How can I arrange buttons on my page so that they line up correctly? This is a tricky question. When you have buttons on your page, you'll need to find the right size or dimensions to make them line up the way you want them to line up. Remember that when you're editing a page, you're in full screen view. That means that the toolbar on the left, the toolbar on the right are not considered in the design of the page. So that if you have this set as your home page, your buttons are not going to line up correctly because it's not a WYSIWYG. What you see is not always what you get when you're designing a page in Canvas because there are other things that have to come into play when the page loads for the student. One suggestion that we have is to use a table. When I go back and edit the page, I'm going to go into full screen mode here so I can see the buttons. You can see I have a couple of buttons that I've made smaller, and I have two that I still have that are large. When I click on this button, I'm going to click Image Options, change this from being small to custom, and I'm going to make this button simply a 100 by 100 button. I could unlock the ratio if I wanted to make it a different size, but it's okay to just leave it as the aspect ratio locked in place so that it will place your second number here, and it will just simply make it a square 100 by 100. Click Done. That shrinks it down. Image options, excuse me, custom, and I'm going to change this to 100. Automatically puts 100 there. Click Done. Now all the buttons are there. Okay. Since I have two buttons here, I'm going to delete this one. And delete the spaces so my buttons show up there. Okay. Remember that I'm in full screen mode, and this I could very easily delete the buttons and have one row of buttons going across, but then that's going to distort the view that I have on the page. I'm going to leave these like this currently, and I'm going to enter down a couple of lines. One thing that you may want to consider is inserting a table. To work with a table inside of your rich text editor, you can choose to go to the table menu or use the table icon here. But when you click on table, it gives you a pop-up window, and you have to select how many rows and columns you want and all the other settings. And cancel for a minute because we have 6 buttons. So I have 1 row, 2 rows, but I have 3 columns. Okay. So let's click on the table icon. I need 3 columns, and remember 6 rows. I can leave it set to 100% of the page, whatever's going to show up, or I could shrink that down so that it doesn't make it fit the whole page. The cell spacing and padding, I could play with that. I could also put a 0 for the border. For the alignment, I can say always put things in the center of the table or the cell. Notice that there's an advanced tab over here on the side. You can select to have no border. Your border color can be transparent. Your background color, you can have a background color, but you can choose this little red line to also mean that there is no color. If you practice and you think, oh, that's not good, you come back and you just make it with transparent or no background color and no border color. Okay, so the general tab and the advanced tab, click save, your table is there. Notice because it was set to 100%, it fit the whole page. If you don't want that to happen, go back and change it. So let's say I only want it to be 75, and you have to put the percent sign back, okay? So 75% of the page, and click save. Now, that's a little better, okay? So now what I would need to do is click on my image icon and simply drag it down into the box. Drag the syllabus, drag this, drag Unit 2 down, okay? And I added additional rows here for the additional buttons. So unit 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever I'm going to add in, I could actually have those set up. And I may realize, you know what, I want class resources up there. Well, unit 1 here, unit 3 over there, unit 2 over here, okay? I can then highlight the cells, change my spacing to be centered, If I still don't like that it's how much it's spacing it out, I can highlight the whole table again, click on table properties, and now we're going to set this to be 50%. See what that looks like. And that looks a little better, okay? So backspace off. Oh, all right, let me just highlight this extra space here and delete it. And it deleted the line that I had there as well. So I can keep going if I want to and get it all spaced back up well. And notice that there's dotted lines around the table. That means there's no border on it. I'm not going to see anything. I'm going to hit escape. Let's scroll back down and click save. Now, when it comes back, remember, this is a distorted view, not a WYSIWYG, because you don't have the menu over here on the side. But still, the buttons seem to be lined up there. All right, let's go check on the home page. Boom. They're lined up, they're correct. I can make these links if I wanted to make them links. And I'll show you how to do that in the next video. I hope that helps. Understand how you can get buttons lined up and get them on the page so that you see them correctly. And I'll show you the student view very quickly. Once the student view comes up, you can see that the menu is there on the right. When I scroll down, my buttons are all lined up. The next step now is to get those buttons linked to the content where they go. Leave student view, and I'll see you in the next video.